everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, dish out on the movies. But today we are doing MasterChef Junior, new season.
Season 9.
And
originally, I could have sworn that this was going to be on in April. And I should have figured it because, January was when Hell's Kitchen ended. And I remembered that the trailer for MasterChef Junior said that there was like a month break. So I should have remembered a month break.
That would have been February.
No, it would have been March because the month of February was the break month.
Oh, well, I know, but it starts in March. See, so it's March.
Yeah,
so
that's what I meant.
A month break would have been February. A month of a break would be February.
No, it would be March because
it
would air in March.
Okay, I don't care. So we were a little bit taken aback.
Yeah.
I saw it pop up this week, or I don't know, when was it? The end of last week or something, over the weekend.
And it says 2 episodes. Like, oh shit, 2 episodes into this already? No!
So I wasn't really enthusiastic about watching this show, but the
Me
thing is,
neither.
I like the kids and that they're not afraid to do something weird or complicated. And the adults, I couldn't do what they are, want to do. But, some of them really do want to be chefs. Way on in the future, and it could happen, And, if you have that drive and you have the support, then it'll happen for them. So I just like their enthusiasm and that they aren't afraid. Because when the adults do it, you have them making stupid mistakes and being afraid. And, I guess that's just like anything else with being an adult. You start bringing in all these insecurities. And when you're a kid, you're not, it's like out of the mouths of babes, so kids will say something very offhanded and unexpected. And that's kind of what this cooking is like. So that's why I like it, because they're not afraid to do weird stuff, which I can't do scallops, and
I can.
Yeah, but I don't even want to try. I don't really care for them anyway. But one kid, one of the most unexpected, we'll talk about it later, makes perfect scallops. So it's anyway, I just like that. So and Marco likes to watch it. So
well, it's fun. I would say I was looking forward to the season a little bit because they have an extra judge this season. They have Tilly.
Has a very nice personality, and I think she's very fair-minded.
She's the best judge.
She really looks at everything.
She's a good judge. She doesn't play favorites so far.
She doesn't have this thing with being a parent and being mothering. She's just being a judge.
Well, she also doesn't have an agenda, because one of the things that bothered me about Christina, who was a judge on this show for a long time, was that she played favorites, and she clearly had an agenda for just finding female chefs who are like her and helping them win. Gordon wants to find little boys who are like him, and then they get to win, and et cetera, et cetera. And with Tilly, it's just like she wants to judge and be fair and everything, and so I think she's the best part of the show. And she's why the season works so far.
And she's
somewhat.
really new. She was on the Christmas episodes. They had a little Christmas, if you didn't listen to our reviews or watch the show, they had a little Christmas show, but it wasn't like a whole MasterChef season. It was limited. And she was on there, on that one. So but she's in for this whole show, she's going to be a regular judge.
Yeah.
So that's new. So I think that's nice. And she can keep her dad, when he starts being, what would you call it?
Egotistical.
And snide or something.
Snobby.
Snobby, yeah, that's a better word.
Snooty.
She can put him in his place.
Yeah. because we saw in a clip, I can't remember if she actually said it in one of the 2 episodes, but she said, "This looks like something better than you'd see in any of Gordon's restaurants."
She said it, I think.
I was like,
she said it.
that's pretty fun. Does
Episode.
that sound like Tilly?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Tilly. I'm Gordon's daughter. I've never tried any of his shitty frozen meals before.
She would have a fit.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
funny.
Well, the first episode of this season is called Eating Emoji, which is kind of weird, but it was all based on these big yellow-faced emojis that they had made. They had balloons, and they had this thing where they would open up and the mouth would spit out stuff at them. It spit out their aprons.
Yeah, that was pretty gay.
I didn't like that. And then they had also, to do their first challenge, they each had a humongous cookie with an emoji face on it. And they're not all the same emojis. Everybody got something different. And then their food, their dish that they made, went with the type of emotion that the emojis exhibited on their face.
And I thought that challenge was very, very cool. It's a great challenge for kids because you just think about the concept of, think of an emotion and then make a dish based on that emotion. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
For creativity and all that kind of
simple.
stuff. So I really liked that challenge. I thought that was a great thing.
Oh, yes, and there's 12 new cooks. And you have people from Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, North Dakota, Michigan, California, Texas, Washington, and I think I got everything.
And I would say that
So,
the kids this season are very good too. I mean, so far I don't dislike any of the kids. I would say that I like them all, even the ones that went home. And so I thought that was very good too. They don't have anyone so far who's like some of the kids from last season. I'm not going to name names, but if you watch our reviews, then you'll figure it out. Like someone for the last season. Did I ever tell you that someone wrote on one of the reviews? They just said you guys are so mean. And it's like, no, not really. Like we're holding back a lot with reviewing MasterChef Junior. So if you think that we're mean in reviewing this show, then you should go watch some of our other videos. Like one that I just did a couple days ago will probably give you a heart attack.
oh boy.
Yeah.
And then the ages of the kids range from ages 8 through 11. So, that's another thing.
Safi, are you going to talk?
Okay, well, like I said, they start off with eating, the episode is eating emoji.
Well, let's talk about some of the talent here. Let's talk about some of the specific kids. There was one kid, because a lot of them, I thought it was really funny too, because a lot of them, they already had their own kind of nicknames or names that just are good for nicknames.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's actually easier this season for me because, usually it takes a while for me to come up with good nicknames for everyone.
One of them I thought was very interesting, and they really perked up with their listening ears when they started talking to him. That's Asher. He'll play a big part in the second episode. He's from Yakima, Washington. He's 8. And he said, my father was a contestant in season 8 of MasterChef. And they said, what? They about had a fit because it was Gordon and I think his daughter who were talking to him while he was cooking. And he said, yeah, he cooked something. I don't remember what he said. But then he didn't get a white apron. And they showed a picture of him. And I think the mother was holding Asher and he was just a baby.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
I wonder if the producers got him and then thought it's going to be a really good moment when the kid reveals to Gordon that, you know what, you actually sent my dad home, you piece of shit.
No,
Like,
he had
that's-
a very good attitude. He
that's
was
what I
very
would've said.
smiley, and,
Like,
and he was a very, very nice boy.
get ready for the 9 hours of food poisoning you're gonna spend in the bathroom, because I'm taking out vengeance for my father.
No.
That's what I would have done.
No. Oh, really?
But I would have given Tilly something good, or no, I would have given all the judges something good, except for the one who sent him home, because that was season 8. I don't know if Daphne was there. She was probably at home making more babies at that point.
Oh, I think she's going to have another baby.
Doing her daytime talk show.
I think she's pregnant again.
I did watch, because I was at the gym a while ago, and I did actually see Daphne and her show making like a recipe. It was like a pie or something, and it looked okay. But yeah, I like that kid. I made a note of that.
Well, they've never had anything like that before. They've never had that. So
Well, they will probably more and more now, because...
Well, probably. It's just interesting. I thought it was interesting, and it's
Yeah.
really good. And he did a good job, too, but we'll be talking about that in the next episode. But he actually... is this him? Oh, he says he even has a specialty, global fusion. And he's from Yakima, Washington. And this first episode, he made surf and turf with a brown butter barbecue sauce.
I would like to bring up a specific kid myself. Not really because I thought he was the greatest chef, but I came up with a really good nickname for him. So there's this one kid, and he doesn't have a hand or an arm.
Part of his, yeah.
Yeah, part of his left arm.
Yeah.
And I thought, cool.
His name is Mild or something.
No, his name on this show, because I thought, this made me think of the Goonies, One-Eye Willie. And, instead of One-Eye Willie, it's One-Armed Willie. And so we're going to have One-Armed Willie on the show.
Why?
And I thought he's cool.
He is cool. He's another very nice boy.
I hope that he goes far in the competition.
And he made pan-seared scallops with mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would eat, except for the Brussels sprouts, because I've never had
they're cabbages.
Those before.
They're like little mini cabbages.
Well,
That's
they
what
just,
they are.
I don't know.
They're not bad.
They look gross, though.
That's what I thought when I had one. It's like a little tiny cabbage.
They look like Poison Ivy from the Batman comics. Like, it looks like something like that would grow underneath her armpits or something like, if she had zits, like if Poison Ivy had a zit on her face, like it would be a little Brussels sprout. That's what it looks like. I'm saying what it looks like. What's wrong with that?
And then we have Remy, who's 10, from Hollywood, Florida.
This isn't the first time there's been a Remy on this show, remember?
No, for this episode, she made chicken and potatoes. She did a really good job. The thing I noticed about her, she was wearing a dress, and the fabric was exactly the fabric I had bought these placemats and napkins at the grocery store. They were on sale, like at the end of the season, and so they were real cheap. And they were like very spring-like, just like the colors. So it was exactly what she was wearing, the dress. So they're like spring colors, like pastels, like pinks and greens and yellows. And I just noticed, I couldn't believe it. Her dress was exactly the same fabric. So I don't know if they made it or they bought it or what, but it was exactly the same. So I thought that was interesting. I just couldn't help but notice that.
Who are some other little dweebs that we can talk about? Well, let's talk about the Burger Queen. There's this little girl named Brianna. And
Brie, I thought, isn't it?
It's short for Brianna. Or Brianna.
Yeah, you're right.
She is the Burger Queen. She's apparently very good at making burgers. She's known for making burgers.
And it seems like whenever somebody says something that they're really excellent at
That's a
doing
lie.
something. It always.
What about Madam Donut from the
Well,
shitty adult season?
I just said whenever that happens.
She did a really good job with the donuts,
Yeah,
though.
she did though. That was like an exception.
Oh.
I thought. Somebody will say they're really good at barbecue, and they might do one good barbecue maybe, or they'll screw it up. And basically, in this one, she didn't do as well as she could have. I don't know what happened. It wasn't. What was it? It was
Well,
overcooked.
first she cooked her burger too early, which is a big mistake. You know,
Yeah.
I make burgers, and the last time I made burgers, I made a really good recipe for In-N-Out copycat burgers. You know, because
it was good.
you're a liar. You hated it.
Well,
You
I
wouldn't
don't
even
like
eat
I
it.
don't like that, but Marco did a good job. You can tell he paid really a special attention and made it the way they have it. I saw it.
And
Picture of it.
I wanted to do that because I've never had In-N-Out before.
No, we don't
and
even have that around here, do we?
And it took like almost an hour to do all the other steps before doing the actual burgers.
Yeah, it takes a lot of steps.
The burgers themselves, they only take like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so like I thought that, you know, that was like an amateurish mistake. And then she also did not cook the potatoes right, but I thought that she was cool.
Well, she kept complaining about the potatoes. She complained about them the entire time. They're not cooking, not cooking. She had them in the oven.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. Oh, she cooked them. She made too big of pieces. That's what they said. That's what that woman that one has a million babies. She said something about the potatoes were cut too big. But I didn't think they looked that big. But I don't know. What do I know? She's 10 from Burbank, California.
And I thought it was unfortunate she went home because she seemed pretty nice. And it would have been fun to see, like, her make a good burger or something.
She's just
'Cause,
got
like, she does have a secret sauce.
Yes, she did, and they talked about it, and she would not tell what was in it.
No.
Which I'm kind of surprised they didn't press that, because they...
Well, I'm glad they didn't. That'd be stupid.
Yeah, since she's gone anyway, so... But they did like the sauce, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was probably, you know.
Well, who knows? We don't know.
You know.
Okay, so...
You know.
Then we have Michael 11, which I think he might have a really good chance. Now, I could be wrong, because, boy, it's easy to be wrong.
Yeah,
But
like
he
last year.
He impressed me a lot.
Well,
He's from Florida, and he goes fishing with his dad. And, of course, they're in Florida, so they do the deep-sea fishing. And he had shrimp. And so... really huge shrimp. He did a really good job, actually. He's 11.
really huge shrimp sounds like a good name for a restaurant, by the way. Oh, shit, what was that?
I hope it wasn't a...
It was just my water bottle, because it's
okay.
empty, and I have to go get water to refill it and do my special agent James Bond spin move. Oh, it doesn't work anymore. Oh, I'm too... Hardcore. Safi, keep talking. Say something.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted me to. And then
Why else do you want to
Michael, actually, I should be telling about what emojis they got, because they have. Remember, we said that they had to make a recipe that had a relationship with the emoji cookie that they had picked, and Michael had they call it the cool cookie, and so he said fishing is really fun, so that's why he made this shrimp. And I think he made a pea sauce and linguine. It was a blackened shrimp linguine with pea sauce or something, and they really liked it. And then, well, we have Lena. And Lena is from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and she's 9. And her father has an Asian fusion restaurant. And so, what do you think she's going to cook? She is going to cook Asian food, like Dara. And she made some kind of thing called flying noodles. And it was really interesting. She really made an interesting presentation. It was steak pieces of steak with these really good noodles, and they were high.
Yakisoba.
They were like stacked in a tower or something, a small tower, and it was interesting looking. But she didn't. Well, we'll talk about that later in a few minutes. Then we have Bryson. He's 11. Now, it's interesting. At first, I thought he was from Wisconsin because he was talking about being a cheesehead. His father lived in Wisconsin. And, of course, they're the cheese state. And, people who support the Packers, the Green Bay Packers, they call them cheeseheads. And they wear these big cheddar hats, cheddar cheese hats, like a big hunk of cheddar cheese. He's actually from Opelika, Alabama.
And he seems to be a much better and more mature contestant than the Alabama girl from the adult MasterChef from last season.
Yeah, it's called a ribeye cap, which is interesting because...
That is actually a new cut of steak that...
I've never seen that before. It was like a steak that was made into a circle and cut kind of like a winding, like a piece of meat. It wound up in a little bit of a tower.
We've never had it before.
I've never heard of it. And
I've only seen it one place.
And he made potatoes and broccolini. Now, the thing about Bryson is he's 11, so he is older. He is kind of nervous. So it's like, it's like me when I had to perform, like doing plays or doing my violin for contests. I'd get so sick to my stomach and I would shake. And he's kind of that way too. But he did really well.
I think he was pretty good, and I'd like to talk specifically about him because, I came up with a nickname for him, obviously. Wallace. Like Wallace and Gromit. Those cheese addicts.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cheese, Gromit! We've got to go get some cheese! That guy's dead, so this kid could actually take up the mantle for Wallace. And so he did really good, but what really bothered me was in the first episode, when he was making his food, the judges were saying that he was playing it safe. And they didn't say this about any other contestant, that they were playing it safe. They said he was playing it safe. And I thought, number one, how hypocritical. And number two, everyone pretty much was doing a simple type of dish. Nobody was really doing something pretentious or overly complicated. So I just don't get that with he's playing it safe. Well, what about that player? What about that other player? And then he ended up actually having the best dish of the night. So that whole thing about he's playing it safe, that must have been just saying it for the drama, saying it for the television.
I don't know.
Safi, you weren't paying attention, so you didn't actually hear them say that.
I don't know. And then we have Jason. We'll talk about him. He is 9 from San Gabriel, California. And he says, I'm going to take over Gordon Ramsay's job someday. And
No, he said...
No, he did say that. I've got it in quote.
No, he said that when he gets the prize money, that he's going to use it to take over Gordon Ramsay's job.
Oh, God.
That's what he said specifically. That was pretty funny.
Later. And then there's Christelle, 10 from Austin, Texas. She is, she's Mexican. Her grandma has a food truck, and she's helped her a lot. That's how she learned to cook. And she made, in this episode, she made Mexican empanadas. Which, see, the thing is, when the adults make Mexican food in the MasterChef, you always think, uh-oh, because Aaron, he judges very harshly on anybody who makes Mexican food, unless it's like cooked to perfection, he just tears them completely apart. So, but the kids is different, you know, because he's a father and he's very nice. So he never criticizes. And let's see, what else? We have did we talk about the pageant contestant?
No.
That's Jordan. And she's 8 from Greensboro, North Carolina. And she really irritated me because when she came in, she went, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," saying it over and over. But in this episode, the first one, she actually made pork chops with a homemade sauce. So she did a pretty good job. So it looked good.
She also said, "I'm really pretty and nice and clean in pageants, but then I get really dirty and messy in the kitchen." And I thought, uh-oh. Because, like, I'm just saying, because, like, anybody who, like, brags about getting messy in the kitchen, you know, that's kind of like a sign of amateurishness, because, you know, when you cook in the kitchen and you're a professional chef, the goal isn't to be messy, it's to be organized and clean.
Then we have Alfred. Now, I didn't hear anything about him in the first episode, but I'll talk about him now. Because I think he's one of the most interesting contestants, because he's from North Dakota, and they never have anybody from that side of the country. I think they did have a MasterChef contestant. I don't know, the older people that they had, either they were from Wyoming or Montana. I mean, they never have anybody from the northern part of the country like that. And this guy, he said they have a farm. I saw cows. I mean, they kind of look like cattle ranchers, which would kind of make sense. And they showed their property, and all you could see for miles was farmland. And he did really good. I don't know what he made for the first episode. I didn't catch it. I don't even know if they said it, but we can talk about it in the second episode.
Yeah, well, I would like to mention the gummy bear boy.
Oh, I did say
Jason. He actually, he was going to put gummy bears as a decoration on his dish, and Gordon said, "I don't think so, young man." And he actually listened to Gordon. And
that's a good thing.
I thought that was great, because that's very rare, you know, especially on MasterChef Junior. You know, the kids will be like, "Ah!" and they'll just do something even though Gordon said that wouldn't be a good idea, and then they'll get sent home. So...
Okay, well, I guess we could talk about the top 3 and the low 3 for this first episode. And the first one, the top 3, or Remy, she's the one that has the dress that has the same fabric as I don't even think I have them anymore. My cloth napkins and the other thing. But anyway, she had a sunglasses emoji. She's from Florida, the Sunshine State. And she's the one that she made a chicken. So a lemon roasted chicken with carrots and mushrooms and some kind of mashed potatoes. She did a really good job.
And let me just say that I think it's really shitty, pun intended, that no kid had, like, the shit emoji. Because, like, you know, even kids can empathize with, like, everyone feels like shit once in a while. And wouldn't you like to see, like, a dish that makes you feel better? Like, because let's say it could represent you're feeling sick or something like that, and you're feeling shitty. And so then you want to eat a dish that would make you feel better. Like, I didn't understand why they couldn't do that.
And then Michael, who is that 11-year-old boy, who I think he could go far, I could be wrong. He's the one that goes fishing with his dad, and he made this shrimp, blackened shrimp linguine with pea sauce, I believe. And then the last one who did a really good job was Bryson, and he got the cool sunglasses, so he made that weird meat cap. What is it called? Something caps.
Well, you've already said it,
I've already talked about it. And he made broccolini and potatoes with it. And he did a good job, though. He was in the top 3, and actually he won the challenge. And so, actually, for both of these shows now, the winner of the top 3 gets to go to Las Vegas with his family. So he won that, so he'll be able to go to Las Vegas with his family. So now we got to the worst ones. Okay, so we have
Lilo.
Leela.
Lilo. Not Leela, it's Lilo.
Her dish was called, remember I said it was something about flying noodles? It's called steak flying noodles. And when you looked at, like I said, the noodles were unbelievable the way she had them presented. But she did not cook the vegetables enough. And some of the meat the pieces of it were rare. So if she would have left off some of the meat, it probably would have been okay. Just put the best pieces, because it didn't have to be a huge thing. You know, all the meat didn't have to be there to make it a good dish. Then the next one was Miles. And now he's the one that has a missing hand or whatever, and part of his arm. And they didn't think it was cohesive. He had a smiley emoji, and he made the dish into a smile with the nose and eyes. So,
well, that's kind of like kiddish to do that.
Yeah, but he made scallops. He cooked them perfectly, and you could tell by looking at them, which is interesting. Then he had charred Brussels sprouts, and that did cook well. But he had mashed potatoes, and they were lumpy. And when he was cooking, he did say that he thought that they were lumpy and weren't good. So they said it wasn't cohesive, which I don't think that was the right criticism at all. I don't know what if they didn't like the smile presentation, the smiling face emoji presentation with the spoon, they should have just said it. Because I didn't get the cohesive thing.
Well, I didn't either. No, I didn't.
It didn't make sense to me. And then the last one is Brie, and she's the one, she calls herself the hamburger queen. And they said their criticism right away was that she had issues with time management. She's the one that had the secret sauce that they liked, and she would not reveal the ingredients. And then she made this burger and green beans and fried potatoes. And I guess the burger was overcooked, and the potatoes and the vegetables maybe were undercooked, or just the vegetables were undercooked. But she ended up to be the one who went home, which is kind of sad. So, okay.
I give the episode a B+.
Yeah, I would too.
It's a light show. It's a kid's show. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Well, I think they're borrowing ideas from Nickelodeon. I don't know. We've not really watched. I've just seen.
Then why would you say that? Then?
Because they do these weird things with pouring stuff on people, and
that's just something that they do for kids shows and things. It's like you gotta have the adults get slime put on them or something, and yeah.
I don't know.
The second episode was about seafood.
It's called Under the Sea, and I like the nice thing about it was the set decor. I think they went really all out, and it was really cool looking the way they had it decorated. And then they had everybody dressed up in a costume, the judges. And Gordon Ramsay was wearing like I don't know what you want to call it, some kind of a swimming outfit, and with the flippers on his feet. And I think he had on those breathing things, a mask on his head. And it was like it was actually a pretty outfit. It was pretty colors, the blue. It was nice. And then they had his daughter Tilly. She had a lobster outfit on, which I thought that was cute. And Orone was dressed up like a pirate. And then that other woman with the children, I don't know if she's pregnant or what, but she had on a very tight dress. And I really didn't think that was right. I mean, it just didn't. It didn't look so good.
Well,
But anyway, they didn't have the outfits on for the entire episode.
well, that's why, Sophie.
They only had on a while, and actually, they have to make a seafood, of course, and they each got a treasure chest, which in it, and they had to pick the treasure chests that they were at the front, and so they have to cook whatever's in the chest. But the other condition is they have to cook it with seaweed. So they could use seaweed as part of the dish, integrated into the dish, or a topping, or
I thought, again, that was very creative.
yeah, I thought that was interesting.
So, Sophie, who were in the top 3 and worst 3?
Okay. The good dishes were Alfred. Now, that's the guy from North Dakota.
You don't need to keep saying that's that guy and that's this guy.
Chowder with vegetables, and they were like, they seemed to be worried about him, and they were kind of like expecting him to fail, because the woman kept saying, "Oh, don't overcook them because they'll all shrivel up." And he says,
and he was like, "I know."
Yeah, I know. And I thought that was interesting. Then we have Jordan, and that's the pageant girl. She made amberjack, which is a fish. I've never heard of it, and tostados. And then we have Asher. He's the little boy whose father was
Sophie, don't do that.
Okay, well, his father was in a...
Okay, no, you don't need to do that.
Date.
You don't need to do
Well,
that.
that's just a reminder. And
No,
he
they
made
don't need
a
it.
halibut and yellow curry. And he was the winner. So I thought that was really cool. And he was so happy because he was like, I'm not going to... I don't know if mine's any good. And he would always have this worried look on his face, and he's 8, and he's like, oh God, I just don't think they're gonna pick me. And then he ended up being the winner. He was really happy. It was really cool.
Really?
And then the bad dishes were Christelle. She's the one who has the grandma with the food truck, and she's from Mexico. And she made a lobster fra de volo or something like that. And what happened was she had made the pasta too early. And then the flavor was there, but the pasta was mushy. And then you have Jason, and let's see, he was the little boy who'd wanted.
Okay, you don't need to do that.
Okay,
well, I would just like to mention really quickly, he wants to have a restaurant, and he wants to call it Cooking with Jason, and I think that he probably will end up getting a restaurant, but I don't think they'll let him call it Cooking with Jason just because it's a very generic title.
Yeah. He made a mahi-mahi sandwich with French fries. The cook was fine, but he did not have enough seasoning.
No.
And they didn't think he tried hard enough.
And you know that Gordon really likes seasoning.
Oh, yeah, especially the salt.
You know that he likes to have so much seasoning, you feel like you're going to die when you're eating his food. So.
And then there was Lilo again. Now, this is the second time she's been in the lower 3.
Yeah.
So I
that's
was
not a
thinking
good
she was
sign.
going to go home.
No, obviously not. Sophie, they have a bias.
And she made gross, but she says she's cooked it before, octopus tacos. But they were not cooked right. They said they were rubbery. So how she made it through, I have no idea. But Jason is the one that went home.
Yeah.
So.
Which, whatever. I mean, she'll probably end up going home anyway. Like.
Yeah.
Just because she's been in the bottom 2. Twice.
And the food, the thing is, like that one boy who made this missing his hand, he made, they didn't say, they said his dish wasn't cohesive, which, like we said, we don't understand that. But his scallops were cooked just perfectly. So
yeah.
this little girl, though, nothing on her plate was good. So I don't get it. You know, that's why I say, even for the adults, sometimes they might make some of the dishes crappy, but some of it is so good and outstanding, and it's such a difficult thing to make, whatever it is that they're cooking, that they get by, and I don't get how she's getting by at all, because her whole dish failed, and the other thing, well, the other thing wasn't as bad as this. I think this is worse than the last time. So.
Really?
Rubbery octopus, tacos.
Well,
Ugh.
I mean, they asked for seafood. What did they expect?
I don't know. Well, she said she knew how to cook them, but she's cooked. Remember, she said she cooks that all the time.
Uh-oh.
It's just that's what I'm saying. That's almost like it could be the kiss of death to say that. Because
Really?
I think so. Even for the adults, whenever they do that, it's 9 times out of 10. When they say they're an expert doing something, they end up screwing it up.
Well, maybe it's just an indicator that they're not going to focus as hard and they're not going to put as much effort into it, and that's the reason why it's not as good, because they're not as focused. They're like, oh yeah, I know how to do this, and it's like a train wreck.
Yeah, that could be. They're too overconfident. They don't, yeah, you're right. So anyway, I thought this was a really good episode too, and I'll give it an A minus.
I'll just give it a B plus because I thought the first episode was better anyway. I mean, the second episode just kind of ran together with the first one for me.
It's better just to watch one episode, and
Yeah.
when you have to watch 2, it's not.
It's not
so good.
It makes it not as enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, everyone, Safi is currently drinking water, and
So if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up.
she almost choked. She was like, ah.
Give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. We welcome your feedback, and tell us what you think about these episodes, and what they cooked. And if you agree with me about that the kids are just kind of like fearless. And even if they make mistakes, they're still not afraid. They still continue on. They're not afraid to do hard things, hard cooking, and like the adults. So, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.